Quandra couldn't read. The words on the page held no meaning for her. Her mind was already undone and put on a shelf to be used as an article of clothing or an appliance. Air conditioning, teeth cleaning, the vacuum held no dirt in its center. The center of her moved, wasn't a still point like they had all predicted, if they had predicted her. All wanted it to be true, but such knowing of such a force of presence wasn't in the realm of possibility. That is, until he came along. He wrote to her constantly. His words were more and more precise, and none of them made sense. And Quandra couldn't read anyway, so they just shined on the page. She turned the pages and didn't think, not even once, "Oh, I get it, oh, I get it." She didn't think. She couldn't read. How was he getting through? And to whom? And into what room? She had no privacy. Anyone could see through her if they looked, but they never did. She was public property, but no one knew of the resources she was made of. She was the always fruity, completely nutty orchard and the parks that nations pride themselves on. She fished in the lakes of sun-reflected stillness. Everywhere was as her, and she lived in the garden of fully ripe, ready-to-pick fruit. She had already been plucked. Writing, reading, the ways of suggested fantasy, imposed and implied and denied. Yes, denied when fantasy becomes too much a reality. She liked the pictures. They gave her no meaning and implied nothing. It was not indirect for her. No barrier, not even a page, an intention. She was seeing. She was always seen, and she saw him. She did not read his revelation and decide if it was true or not. She saw him, and that was always already it. Enough and more than fantasy, and not symbolic like word on page. Symbols were nothing to her, and held no fascination of future hope. No fascination, no hope. No future. He knew that as well as she did. Their love story was not unfulfilled, no obstacles and conflicts of prejudiced hearts, no problems of crossed stars and miscommunications. He had always been direct with her. He had poured himself into her with no holding back, as she always said, "Do not stop until all meaning loses its emotional need. I must stand naked and realize that the sacrifice of fantasy is no sacrifice at all." This is how she read him, and she understood. Not his meaning, but him. Him as herself, with no fantasy, no symbol of their union. No union even. She couldn't read, and she knew he couldn't write. They saw, and they were both incapable of worshiping even a single thought. Even the most innocent fantasy could not be between them. Sometimes they were so innocent and free of meaning that they couldn't even remember what sex they were. Quandra, am I a woman? And what does that mean? What a silly thing to take seriously. Vagina, breasts, birthing, breathing, looking pretty. Seduction, what a laugh, what fantasy, and why, and how could any of it be real? I am not a symbol of a woman, and I hold no fantasy of role. Always I flowed up and down and all around, always the free flow. Desire doesn't complicate or frighten me. Attraction is only a heart tired of fist-fighting with itself. I read you, though I couldn't read. I saw you, and you were seen. Seen lighted up the skies of perception. My beautiful colors shined. The colors are magic, not the borders of our confinement. The walls glimmer and move as attraction bounces, and the secret of this movement is in the magic of the color. That is how I am, as woman. I am the color, and the refraction bears no meaning. Rather, it reveals the garden wherein we meet. The garden, the entrance, the dancing flower with star in hand, the offering with no hold. I've come to love this garden so well. Its enchantments speak and entertain me in a lively play of preparation for his entrance. We are all quite mad in this garden, but it is a madness that we never want to be cured of. It is the madness of being an out of the law of man, of being already happy and dancing with the star of creation. How did I come to know this place? My very own bright self led me here, and has kept me here with grins, and has softened all the jagged edges of survival. Yes, I did survive, though all the predictions only gave a hint of me. What was the story he wanted to share with me? He will come as I take no cure for my madness, and enjoy no mind in the company of the mightiest. The flowers that decorate this place with colors of bright sweet and smells of flavor. We have shared so much, he and the she. We've gotten old in time, and alone and together, we have shared our secrets with the garden, for within the garden, all the creatures know the innocence of our forms. We are the place of the garden, and our hearts breathe life into desire. He tells his story for all in time to meet us here. And what is my story? I know it, but it leaves me white on the page. I know nothing of words, and never have learned how to read. I can only rest, play, and live in the garden before time becomes a line and point of ouch and reference. The beauty of this garden is the beauty of no claims, only recognition of my loved one. I am always what has come before mind is identified itself. The one, he is coming. We will enter our house together and live our lives with those of their forgetting. But first, there is the garden. It is the entrance. The house is only the four walls wherein our bodies lie down and rise up again to wander and bless the many of the one. The garden, the home of recognition, the earth, the palm of our hands touching. Our story has no point. It is perfect. He has shown me this. I saw it. I understood. I felt before time and before reference, before mind, it's all right to be alive. It's all right. It's all right. Ours is not a story of glory. The story is already forgotten. There appeared to be a time of forgetting, a series of dreams of remembering, falling open to love him, the mystery not solved but allowed, the burst into happiness, the undoing of what hadn't really been ever done. Was I ever really just the ideas of a woman? Was he ever just the ideas of being a man? What error! That is why we live on the out of the law of man. Law is mere words of defense, and ignorance of such laws is the true law of innocent heart. How could I know? The laws of mind held no conduct of heart for me. Only the law of understanding breathed life into me. I know nothing of the laws of man. I am too innocent for all that. He has read me and knows that my heart has no difference. He smiles, checks his watch, and says, "Beloved, what would you like to do today?" We always love doing the same thing, and we always do it together. I always say, "Why, my dear loved one, let us wander in the garden and see what attracts." Arm in arm we wander, loving the stroll of the walk and the singing of the shine. I pick a seeded dandelion and blow. The seeds blow past our cheeks. Ours is the wind. The seeds are our children. We walk to plant. We smile and play the game of man and woman, but according to our own desire of innocence. The children will come. The earth, the garden of Mother, lives not just to sacrifice body and mind to death, but she lives to fulfill a promise that has been delivered by the he and the she, the two of the one. The sacrifice cannot be understood by the seeker and his demands. The seeker only knows his death as a terrible sacrifice. Only the lover can understand the sacrifice of body and mind and welcome it. Only the lover can use desire to recognize herself. My hand is open. His heart is open wide. The promise has been delivered. The garden is your home. You have been undone. This is life. How it is all right. All right. How it is love. You smile. All quandary has disappeared. Quandra has nothing to say or represent. She is only an ordinary. Life is the magic of the heart. He continues to write to her. The colors flow from his pen, and the papers are not bound between covers. They are rooted in the earth and grow into the trees of the garden. They share the garden and wander this place. Explanation has left her. She holds his letters to her heart and reads them as she already knows and recognizes him. His words as the dawn, as the sunset, her light, his word, the play of consciousness and light, the garden, this beautiful earth, sweet, sweet madness. Today and every day, they meet in the garden and laugh with the dancing flower, with star in hand.